Yeah, 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 yeah. Welcome to me casa, make yourself at home, do your do. Welcome to my pad, this your lab, go create your move.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to 99 miles per hour with me, your host, Perci Garner. I have a okay guest this morning. No, I got a great guest this morning, but before I introduce him, I just want to make sure that I do touch on a few things. I know it's kind of been a minute. I guess I'm not supposed to let them know how long it's been since I've been doing this. But anyways, make sure you guys go check out getlevelpod.com. And my podcast will be there as well as what? How many? We got like 12 now? 14 podcasts. So a lot to choose from. And a new one is, what is it?
Natural Solutions, Natural Health.
See, he's got it. Natural Solutions, Natural Health by Carmela. And I'm about to tune into that one because she always gets on me about my diet and what I put into my body. And she's doing something right because I'm not going to say her age on air, but she definitely doesn't look her age. So definitely go check that out. And make sure you also go to the nice store that we have. On the Get Level Pod, you can go check out some 99 miles per hour gear as well as some Get Level Pod gear at Teespring, and Josh will put that somewhere on the screen. I'm not going to name out that URL. It's kind of difficult. As well as I appreciate everybody who has been supporting the Dover Scholarship Fund that I created to fill a void, and hopefully we can reach our goal, but I guess I need to start doing some more work for that one. And today, our show is sponsored by Your Pizza, the finest pizza anywhere. So, I mean, if you're like me, pizza's great, but they also got chicken, they got subs, and salads every once in a while. People tell me I should eat one of those. But, what? Oh, yeah, Carmela. She probably would make me eat a salad. She didn't like when I went on my carnivore diet. But yeah, make sure to check them out. They are in New Philly. We won't hold that against them. But we appreciate them sponsoring the show. One of these days, I'm going to be eating on set. I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm kind of messy, but we're going to do that. We're going to make that happen because I really miss Your Pizza.
Oh, sure, and you invite me this week.
Well, thank you. But anyways, so we got someone here that I've known for a little bit. Grew up with his kids, and I got to know him a little bit more over the last few years. Obviously, he's well known in this community. He's someone I look up to, and I'm going to be at my next position. Oh yeah, I guess I should announce.
Yeah, let's hear the big announcement. Come on, I want to hear this.
Yeah, so I have accepted the executive director position at Rainbow Connection, and I will be replacing Carmel Howder, who was just on the show the last episode. So I'm excited. And I'm going to be leaning on you, Jamie Smith, and everyone else in the community to make sure I, keep the name going in Rainbow Connection. So,
yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, everyone knows who this is, but we got Scott Robinson in. I'm sorry, that was a weird introduction, but I'm really, happy to have you on the show. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me, Percy. I mean, we go way, way back, and since you were just about knee-high, probably.
Yeah, you said you were going to share some stuff, but
well, I'll put that on the down low, no problem there. See, that's an old man expression, on the down low, right? I'm not chill or anything like that.
Hey, that's what people need to know what was said back in the day.
Yeah.
But how you been doing lately, man? I mean, we obviously did the Tusco TV last year with football, and you guys kind of took me under your wing, and I showed some interest, and you guys showed me the ropes, and but now you're at a new spot.
Yeah, I'm at WJER Radio again. It seems like it made a big full circle. That's where I started out in 1985. I left there in 1996, did some other things, and then in July they asked me to come back, and I decided to do that. And boy, what a crazy year it's been with this pandemic. These football games have been very interesting with, a third of the stands full and not enough room in the press boxes, and it's just been a crazy time, and certainly it's a crazy time for all of us. Yeah. And, the good thing is we came out of it healthy, and now we're moving on to basketball, and, we'll see what happens here during basketball season.
Well, speak for yourself, because I was down with the COVID. No, I'm not down with the COVID. Like, yeah, I like it. I actually had it. So I was quarantined for 10 days. That's why I haven't had a show in a minute. But
well, gee, thanks for telling me that now. Can you back up just a little bit?
I was about to say, are we?
Yeah, we 6 feet away.
But no, yeah. So it was a fun time. I didn't have symptoms that much, but had to obey the law.
Well, you're young, and fortunately, you came out of it, well.
Yeah.
And your family's doing okay, so that's a good thing, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's real. You should wear your mask. Should wash your hands. Do all those things that are suggested, and we'll all come out of this on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, it was the only part that was terrible, since I didn't have terrible symptoms, was just being apart from my family. Because if I didn't quarantine away from them, then they would have to quarantine 14 additional days, and I didn't want to do that to my wife and my kids. So
yeah, I told my wife, if I have to be quarantined, you got to move out of the house, because you just have to, because I'm not staying in one small bedroom
that's what I
for
did.
14 days. It would just be...
It was rough.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Yeah. But so yeah, I guess I want to hear about your family. I mean, your son and your daughter, Andrew and Katie. I know Andrew, what he's doing, but I want to make sure he's still doing that. And eventually I got to go check him out.
No. He's Andrew's a chef in Pittsburgh at Butcher and the Rye. He works for a restaurant group there that has about 8 different restaurants. And because of the pandemic, he has been off a couple of times, but he is now working at a variety of the restaurants, helping out to get everybody back up and running in Pittsburgh. And it's tough, because their rules are a little bit different than they are here. And I think the seating is about 25%.
Wow.
So it's tough to make a buck in the restaurant business right now in the Pittsburgh area, probably in all of Pennsylvania.
Really?
And Katie is doing well at Cleveland State. She works at the rec center there.
Okay.
And her husband, Jeremy, works at Sherwin-Williams. So he works downtown. And then the beauty of it for me is our granddaughter, Abigail, who's just about a year old. So that's exciting.
Nice.
And I don't want to miss talking about Ange, who is Andrew's girlfriend. And they have a nice little house in Pittsburgh, and it's all good. Yeah. So
I'm gonna have to go check him out. Because I like to eat. So
you should. He's the head chef. He's the chef de cuisine. I got to get the title right,
chef de cuisine.
Yeah, he's a key member of Richard DeChance's restaurant group over there in Pittsburgh. So, he's doing well, and he found a passion, and he's pursuing it, and it's good for him.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's always good to hear. About the friends, and the funny thing is, a lot of my friends that we graduated with 07. I've known them for so long, and I don't know if I've made an impact, but then, I started this podcast, and a couple of my friends are like, yeah, I really like that spiritual podcast you had. I'm like reading the Bible now. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, I guess it took a podcast to make an impact on my friends' lives. And it's whatever, but were they listening to me the previous 30 years, or was I just saying nonsense?
Well, when you became a famous baseball player, suddenly everybody paid attention to you.
Famous in Dover. No.
Yeah. How much was your rookie card? I'm sorry. I could $2.
No, it was $3. $3 when I saw, but obviously price went down.
Yeah,
price went down. I'm probably weighing down Plutko's card value right now.
Well, if he'd be doing anything, it'd be up higher.
I think I've done that once, and I was terrible. So, but yeah. So the thing I want to kind of, I don't know if you've watched many of these, but I kind of use this to learn about the person and, some other subjects that they might have some expertise in.
Right.
So I kind of, it's a win-win for me. Obviously, I get to make content, which is what I wanted to do for a long time. And I also get to, hopefully, on the other side, come out smarter. But we'll see. I don't know if
it's a 50-50 shot.
So that's one of the things I learned about you. So obviously, I know you have a good voice, and a face for radio.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize, the sense of humor and how funny you were until, was that last season?
That was last season, yeah.
I was just like, wow. I was like, I don't know if Andrew thinks you're that funny, but I thought you're really funny.
No, he doesn't think I'm near as funny as you did.
I was going to say, usually the kids are there.
Kids know. Yeah.
My son did tell me I was funny. So really? I don't know if he was trying to get something.
Kids lie a lot.
Oh, man. So, but yeah, that's one thing I learned. And another thing I learned is obviously just at the intro, how I was kicking the ball around and you just step right in and, you're skilled like that. And
I've also been doing it a few years longer than you have, too.
That is true. I like how Steve's the same way. You guys kind of downplay your skill set a little bit. And, like to shine the light on other people. I mean, that's what good people do.
You know what? That was one of the highlights of my whole football season last year. And I mean this. to be able to have you there and to try and help you and propel you forward, that's what I'm looking forward to in the rest of the years I'm going to be broadcasting, however many that may be. I'm really trying to work on developing the talent, the next generation. And certainly I identify you as that. I think that's really critical. You have the skill set, you have the personality, you have the talent, you have the background because you show your ring off to everybody that you got from the Indians. So that opens a lot of doors.
I don't know what ring you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know what ring you're talking about.
I don't know where it's at.
Yeah. I may have to bring that out for the next podcast.
Yes.
But seriously, you really have the talent, you have the ability. You're doing the podcast now. You're getting some more experience. You can do this. You can do the play-by-play. You can do whatever you want to do. But it's easy for me to help somebody that wants to learn. And that's what I found with you is you enjoyed it. You liked it. You had a good time with us. We had a lot of laughs, and I was able to maybe help you a little bit and give you some pointers on things that I would do or try.
For sure.
And, you were a quick student. You learned a lot. We got better as the season went on.
Yeah. Well, I got way better.
Yeah.
I started off really bad. Didn't I get Baron Bay's name wrong the first
Yeah. Well, those things happen, but
not for Baron Bay. He's like the top recruit out of the area.
Yeah. He didn't like it so much. But we had a good time. We learned as we went along. We made do, and you really came on toward the end of the season, and I thought it was really going well. Unfortunately, for circumstances beyond our control, we just we didn't get a chance to do that this year. Yeah. But WJER, if there's ever an opening, believe me, I'll be knocking on your door again.
Well, I know Ambient over there that we had talked a little bit, and even though I'm not a shy person, I don't know why, but I'm afraid that I'm going to say something wrong,
You just have to engage your filter. That's all. It's not always easy.
I don't know if I have one of those now.
You have moments when you have a hot mic. Look at how many people have said something they shouldn't have said, and it's cost them a significant, their jobs in a lot of cases. And
I thought a lot of the stuff they've said was funny, but obviously you can't say it.
Yeah, they're just things you can't say. And we all have adapted to these are high school kids in most cases that we're covering. I make mistakes, you make mistakes, these kids make mistakes. There's no need to accentuate any mistakes that you see because the kid knows they made a mistake. The coach knows they made a mistake. Yeah. That coach is going to address it with the kid. He doesn't need to feel any worse than he already feels because he knows he screwed up.
That's true.
You had it in your playing days. You know when you did great, and you knew when you did bad. Mm-hmm. And, if you had a great game, the coach was going to come in and tell you, hey, you need to improve on this, this, and this. There's just no, you never play a perfect game.
Especially with film when you get to watch it back. So.
Yeah, and I never have a perfect game as an announcer. I never have, never will. You make mistakes and you try and recover from them, and you hope you don't do too bad of a job, and the listeners get the idea. And you paint the picture, or if you're in TV, they can see the picture. So it's always a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that, having a chance to work with you last year. I really did.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know how much I was, being around all these old men. I didn't know I was going to join.
Wow, that hurts just a little bit. Here we are. We take you in, and no. Just slap me across the face.
Yeah, Josh would never do that, though. Josh is a little bit better human than I am. But but no, obviously I joke, and you mentioned it. We had a good time, but there was a lot of learning for me. So
that's good.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great.
But I kind of want to transition to more, just you and just how you got to where you are as a person and in your career and stuff like that. But I kind of want to start out with some general stuff. Like, I know we talked about your family, but you seem like a person that really focused on, self-development as you come up. I know now you're focusing on, developing the younger crowd and the people that, are coming after. But like, how did you, I guess, focus on self-development coming up? Were you a reader or, obviously you didn't have, a Google, just anything you wanted to know. Here we go.
we didn't have internet till 1996. I was 26 by then, actually 36 by then. So, I know.
Just let everybody know.
Yeah, I know. Whatever it was. But, when I started out, I always had a dream from the 7th grade on that I wanted to be a radio announcer.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's crazy.
Dang.
It's crazy. And that's what I went to college for at Ashland University. It was Ashland College then. And got through there. Took
you got through there?
I got through there. Someday we'll talk more about that, but that is my specialty was pinball.
Oh, gotcha.
But we managed to get through there and get a 4-year degree. So I was pleased. I consider that to be one of my crowning achievements in my life, was to get the college degree. That was important to me. Mm-hmm. It was important to my parents too, because there weren't a lot of college graduates in our family, and I took that as a personal challenge. And it wasn't always easy, but you do it and you get that degree, and that's something you always have. Now it sits in the bottom of a drawer, but at the same point, you know what you achieved.
Yeah.
So I went into radio, and I developed a lot of skills. Working with people, working with the public, working with public officials, all those things. And what I did is I set about to make a networking group. Kind of, mm-hmm. I tried to expand my group that I knew or had friends with, or just made contacts, I guess. And as time went on, I spent about 12 years at WJ8ER, and made a lot of contacts, and knew a lot of people in the community, having been born and raised here, mm-hmm. and living in New Philly most of my life. And I know, but I changed in 19. What year was it? About 1985, I changed, and we moved to Dover. So now, I get back on your good side. But, we talked about it, and I decided that I had an opportunity to go to the United Way of Tuscarawas County. And I've always been kind of community-oriented, and I thought that fit with my skill set at the time. So I went there, did the same thing, expanded my network, learned a lot about fundraising, learned a lot about the needs of the community. It was a great time, spent almost 15 years there. And, sometimes, when you've been around as long as I have, there's a little voice that talks to you and says, hey, are you really giving that your best effort? Have you put in all you can put in here? Do you think maybe you'd be better served, or the organization would be better served, if you looked for something a little bit different? And it was a great run, and certainly fundraising is a difficult position, as you're going to find out. Yeah. But it can be rewarding too. At the same time, there was a lot of things that were great about it. It was just very difficult to continue to go out and raise money year after year after year. So the chamber position became available in about late 2010, early 2011, and I decided to apply for that. We went through the interview process, and then I was hired eventually in April of 2011. So I've been there almost 10 years. Nice. And I continue to say this is going to be my final stop. I love what I do. I enjoy the businesses that I work with. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy the challenges of working with a business organization in these types of times, advocating for small business, and just trying to be helpful in the community. And I think that's really satisfying to me as much as anything. And I think you're going to find that too in your new job. You'll see that there's going to be wins, and there's going to be losses, and there's going to be frustrations, as there is in any job. But I really have enjoyed every day at my job. I want to continue to work there as long as I possibly can, as long as my bosses will let me work there. I intend to do that. So, that's kind of my story in a nutshell. I was told a long time ago that my dad had decided and had a conversation with my mom and said, he's going to lead something someday. And I didn't hear that story until about 2 years ago, and I thought, how prophetic was that? My dad's been gone for basically 34 years or so, roughly, and I'd never heard that story. My mom just dropped that story on me the other day and recently. Nice. And, I thought, wow, what did he see then that he knew, even though he wasn't going to be here, that he knew that was going to happen? So that was kind of a special. That was an aha moment.
She held it for the right time too.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. She hit me at the right time. My ears are tearing up now.
Yeah,
but,
I could tell.
It's one of those things that you don't hear about these things, and then they come out, and it's like, geez, why didn't you tell me that before? When I was really trying to work my way up.
Yeah.
And you try to set a good work ethic and show your kids this is the way you should do things. Go to work. Be there on time. Be there before you're supposed to be there. All those things, show up and give it your best. And, I'm thankful that my kids have learned that. Both of them work long hours in and particularly difficult physical job. You don't think about that, but
that's a very competitive job too.
Yeah, it's a competitive job, and you have to hire and fire and run a kitchen and make sure everybody's happy, and it's just very, very difficult. But I'd like to think they saw some skill sets in myself and my wife Kim, who has worked at Zimmer for about 33 years now. Okay. They always saw us go to work every day. If we were sick, we went to work.
Well, you can't do that now.
Yeah, you can't do that now. I was just you beat me to it, kid. Come on. But you just go in and give it your best effort. I never thought it was great to change jobs every year or two. I was always committed to what I was doing. And I don't think I've held a job much less than 10, 12 years anytime I've ever made a change. But I always felt it was important to give it time and to try and do your best at that job. Take it to a level where you think it's ready to be given to someone else and move on and try and build the next organization. And that's what I enjoyed, was kind of developing a sense of how to build an organization. The other thing, too, is not a lot of people can work for a board, a board of directors, board of trustees, when you have about 18 different bosses, 16 to 18. And that can prove challenging, but when you develop relationships with people, you're able to honestly talk through issues and things like that where it works out. And I've been very fortunate to have a lot of great board members, and I really enjoy the situation that I'm in now because we all work together as a team for the benefit of the community, and that's really all I can ask. And we're all giving it 100% to move this community forward. The problem is this pandemic. I mean, that has hurt so many businesses.
Yeah.
You heard it in your former job or your soon-to-be former job. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And it's very, very challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it has been challenging. I've said this time and time again on this show that obviously it's been super challenging for businesses. Some are gone out of business, but it's also made a lot of people, churches, businesses, organizations kind of, take the next step or, just become, I guess more mobile and figure out new things. And so there's been obviously more negatives, but there has been a little bit of, pluses, like this podcast would have never been here.
Right.
But,
yeah. Traditional churches have had to find ways to get their message out. And a lot of the older traditional churches that would have never thought of this suddenly realized, where are our parishioners? Where are our followers? And they develop ways to do it through the internet, and they've taken it to the next level. And that's really great for some of the people, like the older folks that are shut-ins and can't get out. This provides them some faith-based material on a Sunday that they can actually participate in if they can't get from their house and drive to the church.
Exactly.
So that's been important, and I think that's been a good part of this. Certainly there have been some others, but from a faith-based perspective, I think that's a pretty important piece.
Yeah, and I mean, I've enjoyed kind of being the guy who I think every third Sunday I control the live stream, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't want to. People are trying to worship, and then if I mess the screen up, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But, they let me do it, and they trust me. But it's kind of nerve-wracking. But
that's, I guess.
Would you trust me?
The decision-making, that's in a higher power's hands. Yeah, so you're,
that's true.
That's certainly. True.
But they'll be all right. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
If I mess up a little bit, no.
No, but I think that I know the older folks, that people that are senior citizens, the elderly, I'm sure they appreciate it very, very much. Although there is, some larger facilities that certainly been doing it for a while and have gotten really, really good at it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the older traditional churches are catching up.
Yeah.
And at least it's on there, and people are getting the message. And I think that's really working out in a lot of ways.
True. Now, obviously, we talked about your career path and, what you did to get through or to accomplish certain things.
Yeah.
Being where you are now, do you think there's anything left that besides, groom the next generation like you talked about? Is there anything left you feel like you have to do or you need to do for you to be like, okay, almost like that LeBron question, like what does he have left to prove?
Right. I think after 37, 38 years, there's in broadcasting, there's a few things maybe I'd still like to try. But, I've never opened a stadium. I've never opened a gym, all those things which could have happened this year. But because of the pandemic, it just didn't quite work out. I've done 7 basketball games in one day, 3 different times. So that's something. So there are the firsts. That's what gets me excited about the broadcasting. If there's something I haven't done and I get a chance to do it. A couple of years ago, we did some games at Kent State Tuscarawas on Tusco TV. That excited me because I don't think that had necessarily been done before, at least that anybody could remember. So that was exciting. Those are the things from my second career, from my broadcasting career. That's what excites me. Yeah, is doing something that's a little bit different. I think I've matured a little bit and gotten better as I've gone along. I always went in feeling that 50% of the people like me and 50% didn't. Yeah. And if you don't get too big of an ego, and we all have egos, let's face it. Yours was the biggest I ever saw. No.
You take that back now.
Yeah.
I don't have an ego.
Yeah. But, if you go in with that perspective and you have your head on straight, I think that that's a pretty good perspective to take. And just remember, it could be your kid out there playing, your student athlete, your son, your daughter. How would you feel if somebody said something negative about somebody that you were related to that was your child? So if you look at it from that way, that was great. When my kids played in sports, that gave me a little different perspective too. And I only ever did one game that my son Andrew played in, a soccer game. Really? Yeah, I did on TV. And
you know soccer?
Just probably more than you do.
Well, I learned a lot after. I wish I would have. I love soccer now. I know what's happening. I'm like, I wish I would have been, in high school, you're mature and you're like, oh, football is the only thing that matters. But, I mean, technically, they're playing football.
Hey, I remember when you guys used to go and support the soccer teams at Dover. The soccer players would come and support the football teams. Yeah. I remember Andrew standing out at Fawcett Stadium when you guys were playing Steubenville. And there's a bunch of the soccer kids, no shirts. They got gloves and hats on. And it was cold.
Yes, it was. It was really definitely cold. I had a lot of equipment. So it was cold.
But that's what made you all tight, because you had respect for each other. And I think that really was a great way to show it. I think there was a lot of fun and camaraderie. And even though you played different sports, you still realized that there's skill involved in both.
Yeah, for sure.
And, now you mix it with the kickers and those kind of things. You mix soccer and football a little bit. So.
Yeah, we started to do that. That was, I remember Corey Plotz and some other players.
Yeah, I mean, there's been players along the years that have been very good at it, and certainly still today. Yeah. You're seeing a lot of the soccer players play football as a kicker. And then the soccer coaches hold their breath that they don't get hurt playing football, and the football coaches hope they don't get hurt playing soccer. So, but it's changed a lot over the years that way.
Well, when I got to do a private tour of Dover High School, and man, I wish I was a student right now. That place is. Have you seen it?
I have. I've seen it. It's an awesome facility, and. And fortunately, a lot of the schools are getting newer facilities, and the others, time will come where they will get theirs as well. But it is an advantage, and certainly the buildings are much more technologically functional. Yeah. I guess is the word I would use, or phrase I would use, because there are some advantages to a newer building versus an older building.
Will you see advantages broadcasting and stuff? Have you got to see what it might be like in the new Dover gym? And how you guys are is it going to change anything? Are you wiring and your setup or anything?
They're really, it's a nice gym. They've done a tremendous job with that. I think that there'll be a perch for the radio at some place around the upper ring, I would assume. The good news is appreciate WJR's investment in new equipment. Okay. So we're going to have some new equipment for this basketball season. And WJR Sports Director Willie Grove and I are going to be working with that here very, very soon. So that's terrific. Appreciate the confidence that Amy Smith and the team there have shown to Willie Grove and I by purchasing the new equipment, giving us the tools we need to succeed, and in turn make them sound better, which is always helpful.
Yeah. New equipment is always just so I don't know about you, but for me, new technology. And when I got that new iPhone, I was like,
yeah.
But I always get excited about that. But
yeah, it's great stuff, and it shows that the businesses are investing in their product. And that's whether it's a radio station or a retail store. Anytime you pour money into the infrastructure, or the equipment, that's certainly while it's expensive, it also can be a real benefit for the people that listen or the people that use the store. It's awesome.
Yeah, I always, commend those companies because a lot of people can just try to be smart and try to just stay status quo for the longest time to save money and be, that's the mark of a business. You want to be successful by making money. But, there's also times when you have to, it's time, like, all right, we need a new, this. And it's a hard decision for a lot of businesses, especially now. But it's definitely one of those things when you do it and you see it pay off, you're like, I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, there's some companies that I've been participating in some interviews with that they're looking at spending smaller, 13, 14, 15 people operations that are looking to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on new equipment in a bet that they're going to be able to increase their market share while the times are a little bit tough.
Yeah.
So when the economy expands back up, hopefully they're going to have a bigger piece of the pie and, they're going to roll the dice and take a chance.
That'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else can I learn from you? No, I'm just, now, the thing I did want to kind of touch on is obviously we talked about, your relationship with your kids and obviously your career and all that. But I kind of want to talk about, because even though I've been with my wife for 8 years, it's still, wait, is it 8 years? I think so. 7 or 8.
You better get this one right.
It's 7 or 8 years we've been married, but I'm still learning and all that. And I mean, how long have you and Kim been together?
37 years we've been married.
Dang, okay.
Been together about 41. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've been with Christopher for 15 years, and I think married for 8. I think, yeah. But or 7. Married for 7. Sorry.
Okay.
But is there what if you're telling Andrew, if you're talking to his son now, the birds and the bee? No. if he's thinking about marrying, is it Angie? Angie.
Yeah.
If he's thinking about marrying her, what would you,
Well, you just have to learn it's a series of give and take. You both have different interests. You're trying to mold those into one to become a family. And it's not always easy. It's hard work. You got to work at relationships. And it's very, very difficult. And I would encourage him to, get to know each other as well as possible before you do that. And you'll know when the time's right. And, you'll move forward and the kids will come along. And
that's another challenge.
That's a whole nother challenge. Yeah. As my daughter and her husband are finding out, with a 1-year-old that's learned to crawl recently. So she is grabbing the cat's tails and, those kind of things. So
being curious.
Yeah, being curious. But you just have to work on relationships. That's the big advice I would give you is to understand what you're getting into, to appreciate it, and to pray long and hard about it before you do it. It certainly is it's a big step, and it's one that you take for life.
Yeah, I like that. A lot of people don't look at relationships as work, and I don't think it's bad to say that it's work. I've been in a relationship for a long time, even outside of marriage, just regular friendships. I've had a friendship with Micah since we were born.
Yeah.
And we never really had any, differences really, that were major, but we had one where I kind of messed up and it really was like, wow. It put it in perspective, all right, this is something I cherish. Obviously, I got to make sure I make this right. And especially it's magnified in a marriage because you can't, really, I mean, you can, but that wouldn't be healthy. But you cannot speak to that person for a long time. If it's just a friend who lives hours away, but it's your wife in the house, you have to realize, I have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Consciously, intentionally make adjustments. It's not just going to take care of itself. And the way I think about it is love is like a choice. If you look up love in the dictionary, it's, people are like, oh, love, but that's not what it is.
The two most important words you're going to learn, Percy, are yes, dear.
Yeah. Yes, there's only been a couple times where I've, I guess I'll say this, put my foot down. Hopefully my wife isn't watching. But there's only been a couple times where I've had to do that. Every other time, we talk things out, we compromise, and that's why I think we're going to be good for.
But you make sacrifices. You as a professional athlete, there were probably other opportunities you could have taken, but you put your family first like you should have, and you didn't go to the XYZ city or this country or do this or do that.
Yeah, that was a rough time. There was opportunities to play in Venezuela where I was, in the minor leagues, I'm making $8,000 a year, then I can go to Venezuela and make $20,000 in a month. I'm like, babe, we need this money. But the same token, they needed me home instead of me playing, baseball in the States for 7 months and then going to play 3 months in another country and then like, hey, we get to spend Christmas together and then I'm gone again. That's not.
Yeah, and that's I admire the athletes like yourself that are able to do that, to basically have two different lives. One is the professional athlete and one is the homebody, is the father, of some kids or the husband, whatever. But it's hard to force people. It's hard to be a coach.
Yeah.
Those college coaches, it's, you spend a couple years one place and the next thing you know, you root everybody up and take them somewhere else. And, the coach that you work for gets fired and then you're out after a year there. Where are we going to go? Can't buy a house because we don't know how long we're going to be here.
Yeah.
All those things. And the same thing with the professional athlete. You were always rooted here in Dover for the most part.
Yeah.
And that gave you somewhere that you always knew that was home.
Yep.
But there's a lot of these athletes that don't have anybody, don't have a wife, don't have any responsibilities, and they just bounce from place to place to place.
Well, I had to make Krista like, hey, we're staying in Dover. Even when she got pregnant, I'm like, you're moving back to Dover because I'm gonna be playing, and she had to make, obviously, we talked about the sacrifices I made. She's had to make the most outrageous sacrifices. But she's taken it stride, and I'm sure Kim has made some sacrifices.
Yeah, she learned early on that pretty much every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday I was going to be on the road doing a ball game somewhere. Yeah. And now when I said, well, what if I cut back a little bit? She said, no. I'm perfectly happy with Tuesday, Fridays, and Saturdays on my own. I don't want you to be home. I want you to go. You do your thing. It's okay. I'm used to it after all these years.
Yeah.
But like you said, it has to. It's work. It's compromise, and all the things in between.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want to leave the listeners with, or actually, who? I guess I just want. This is for my own. Knowledge, or who, like, what people were you looking up to when you were growing up? What was it other radio announcers or commentators?
No, actually it was probably my parents, my grandparents, I think. Nice. More than anything, because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and you see how hard they worked. I mean, they were born in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
They lived through the Depression, the original flu epidemic. Those kind of things, World War I, World War II, all the things they saw, in that 80-year period from about 1906 to 1986, that there was a heck of a lot of change.
Yeah.
People going to space, to the moon, all these things, and they just always had a good perspective because my grandfather grew up on a farm outside of New Philly, and my grandmother pretty much the same. And, it just was amazing what they had seen, what they had done, what they had accomplished. And he just thought he was always just a steel worker. Well, no, you're my grandfather.
Yeah.
You're somebody to look up to, and, I loved him dearly and I miss him every day. But certainly they were some I looked up to. My dad, always, there was always a roof over, head, food on the table.
The stuff people take for granted.
Once you become an adult, you realize. Yeah, and there was always stuff under the Christmas tree, Those are things that I didn't realize what I didn't have. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I didn't think I lacked for anything, and I still don't.
Yeah.
And I hope our kids feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Well, I appreciate having you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, this was very exciting to have you on here. I'm glad I, thought of it and that you're okay with coming on here and giving me some of your time, even though you thought it was going to be 10 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes later.
But now we got to get on to the famous 99 miles per hour outros. They're not famous or good. Anyways, we appreciate you guys listening.
I saw the intro. I know it's not.
Love it. We might have to have you here again later in life. But no, we appreciate having you here. We appreciate you guys listening. Remember the 5-star review on iTunes. Like, subscribe on YouTube. We are on Facebook now. That's like a thing. So that's fun. Remember to upload it to Facebook, Josh. And maybe, we might be doing some other things. Maybe some live things down the road. We'll see. Yeah, That's scary. A lot of time the guests don't want to do live, but Scott, he would have been all right for it because he he's all right. He's a professional. But yeah, tune in to this. This will be live on YouTube and Facebook on Tuesday, just like they usually are. If you guys want to listen, go to the getlevelpod.com//99 miles per hour. And I guess we'll see you next time. Peace.
I got a crib by the water. Say me casa su casa. It feel like Casablanca. Shawty, you my little mama. I got a crib by the water. Say me casa su casa. It feel like Casablanca. Shawty, you my little mama. She be on that Henny. I like that Corona.